Welcome back, everybody. I'm Terry, and today I'm going to reinstall the stock exhaust on my BMW Z3. All right, if you guys have been following along on the series, I've had to remove my exhaust so I could do a bunch of maintenance on my car. All that maintenance is done, so I'm going to go ahead and put the exhaust back in. Now, there is a few different parts you need to replace if you do remove your exhaust, so I'm going to go ahead and show you those. For starters, I had to get some new exhaust hangers. The ones that I had, I was not able to remove, so I cut them off. So you can see right here, I got a new one, and then right here, I have a new one already put on, and this is the part number for those. All the information right here for the BMW little rubber hangers. So go ahead and get these if you ended up damaging your old ones in the process. The next thing you're going to need is going to be some new exhaust gaskets. So I went ahead and picked up 2 moly gaskets. Here's the information on these right here. So we're going to go ahead and replace the ones that are there, as well as I got some new copper lock nuts as well. And once again, here's all your information for those. So those are for this area right here. So where the exhaust, so the very end of the exhaust manifold comes down right here, and then it connects to the rest of your exhaust to then feed into the catalytic converter. So you have 2 gaskets right here. You can see the gaskets are right here. You got to replace those 2 gaskets, and then replace the nuts, because those are one-time use lock nuts. So I got 2 new ones, or 4, excuse me, a set of 4. So I got 4 new lock nuts that are going to go on here to remount everything back in. Now, once I take these gaskets off, we're going to have to kind of clean the surface a bit because it's kind of a little corroded. You can see the surface isn't very smooth and clean. So I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to set that there for now. So I got to go in and smooth out that surface so the gasket has a flat surface to rest against before we attach everything. I also will need to clean the threads on these studs just to ensure that the new lock nuts get on there nice and smoothly without any kind of cross threading or any kind of issues, because I want to make sure that if I ever have to take the exhaust off again, it won't be too difficult to do. Hopefully, if you removed your exhaust, hopefully you didn't have any issues with, having to break your studs. Otherwise, you're going to need to replace those studs if you did. But thankfully mine, I'm going to go ahead and just reuse them. All right, so before I can put the exhaust back in, I have to put my heat shields back on. So there's going to be 2 heat shields. There's going to be like a smaller one that kind of covers this area here. And then there's going to be the large one that covers the drive shaft. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in. I'm not going to film that because it's pretty straightforward. Just go ahead and put these fasteners back on it and get your heat shield back in. So I'm going to come back once those are in, and we're going to get this exhaust put back on. Okay, so I got this heat shield back in, and this heat shield is back in. So we're all good on that front. So now I'm going to go ahead and get set up to start cleaning this off so we can get the new gaskets put in. All right, so let's go ahead and get the old gaskets off. All right, so I'm going to use my wire brush first to see if I can get it clean with just doing that. If that don't work, then I got like a little sanding stone on my little rotary tool here that I can use to kind of grind this off. Just if you do something like that, just be careful that you don't end up gouging into here, because otherwise you're going to have an exhaust leak if you can't keep this smooth. So I'm going to do that as a last resort. Make sure you're wearing safety glasses and whatnot so you're not getting any dust and debris in your eyes. Let's go ahead, hit it with a little brake parts cleaner and give it a good, see if we can't get this clean. Now hopefully yours isn't heavily corroded. I don't live in the Rust Belt, so that's good for me, but for those of you that are, you might have to, if yours is in real bad shape, you might need to talk to an exhaust shop specialist to see if you might need to do something else if this stuff is heavily corroded. They might need to, you might need to like cut this part off and make a new, get a new section put together. It just needs to be smooth enough to where the gasket will sit nice on there. Don't forget to clean off the other two flanges on the other half of the exhaust before you connect everything back together. It feels pretty decent on my end, so I don't think I'll have to grind it, which is good. I didn't want to have to do that. I was worried about gouging it and stuff, so this is good that the wire brush seems to be doing well enough for what my needs are. And then just keep scrubbing until you get it satisfied. Now you're going to want to make sure you match up your new gaskets with your old ones before you open these, because you're not going to be able to return it if it's been opened. So you just take your old one, kind of just set it over the top and make sure everything lines up. And these are a perfect match. So we got the right ones. So I know that if I open these, I won't have any regrets. So that's good. I cleaned off the studs. I think I'm gonna have to use my tap and die set just to kind of fix the threads a little bit before I get in on it. At least with this one, this stud here, you can see the threads are a little wavy and kind of messed up right here. So I'm gonna use a tap and die set. So I'm gonna take my die and go over I gotta figure out what the thread pitch is on this first so I don't mess up the thread pitch, but I'm gonna see if I can't kind of patch this bad spot up here. Otherwise, everything else looks good. This one here has a little bit of a bad spot on the thread right there. But I'm going to see if I have a matching thread pitch for this. If I don't, then I'm going to leave it alone. But if I can try to re-thread this, I will, just to ensure I don't have any issues getting the new lock nuts on. Okay, so I'm not able to use my die to rethread these. I think these are M10 by 1.5, but don't quote me on it. I'm not really sure. The tool that you need to spin the die on here keeps hitting the other studs, so I don't really have a way to properly do it. So I'm just going to leave it alone so I don't damage the threads further. So I'm just going to have a couple bad spots, but hopefully it won't cause any issues threading on the new lock nuts. Let's go ahead and get those new exhaust gaskets put on. Get these slipped in. All right, good enough. Now comes the hard part of getting the exhaust lifted back up so that way it can be bolted in. So let me go ahead and slide it under the car and see if we can't get it put back to where it needs to be. There was this little bracket that sits on here as well, and I don't remember exactly how it went on. I think it went on like this, or maybe, it must go like that. All right, so that is, so it kind of connects the two to get the two flanges together. So I think that's to help reduce like vibrating between the two or something. I don't really know, but make sure you don't forget to put that bracket back in. All right, so excuse the lighting, but I got the exhaust somewhat under the car. My goal is to take this hanger and mount it up to the subframe to help support the weight of the exhaust. Then I'll go up there and line it up onto those 4 studs, get that bolted in, And then the muffler, I'll put into these hangers last. I at least need to support the weight with this one so I'm not struggling with those studs. So let me go ahead and get this up. I've asked my husband to assist me because this is going to be heavy and awkward. So he'll be doing most of the lifting while I just kind of bolt stuff in. All right, let's get it done. And then this one is a 13 millimeter bolt that will hold this one hanger in. All right, so I had put this one in first, just loosely to hold it. I got the 4 studs set in, and I got the nuts just kind of hand tight to hold that in place. And then I went ahead and I got these exhaust hangers hooked up to the muffler. So now all I gotta do is actually tighten this one down and then go tighten the 4 studs down. And this bolt up here is giving me problems. It doesn't want to cooperate. But I went ahead and I'm switching over to my electric ratchet to try to force it in because it doesn't want to tighten. See if I can't zip it in this time. I tried doing it manually and it kind of just keeps stopping. It kind of has like it's like a locking bolt, so it doesn't want to go in. See, it just won't go in. That's crazy. So like this bolt has like this slice in it. I think it's to help lock it so it don't come out, but it is preventing me from twisting it in. So I'm struggling just to get that bolt to go into its home. I've been fighting with this thing. Yeah, it's like because of that divot, it won't tighten. I'm wondering if this bolt is one-time use. Because I can't thread it in. Like this bolt is tight. I can't even loosen it by hand. It's tight. But it's, as you can see, the bracket's not tight. So it's like it's not going in at all. And that's the issue I'm running into. So this might be a one-time use flipping bolt. I took this out because I figured it'd be easier than fighting with this hanger here. But now, looking back on it, I think it would have been easier to leave that bolted in and disconnect this piece instead. Probably would have been easier. Because now I can't get this bolt to go in. This thing is tight, but it's not all the way in. Oh, I think it finally grabbed, maybe. I don't know. Oh, I think it might have finally grabbed. Never mind. I got it! Yeah, it took a lot of effort to get that thing to grab. Alright, but never mind. I got it in. So, thank gosh. Alright, so this is officially installed on this half. Let me just go back up by the studs, and we got to get those tightened down. Alright, now these are 15 millimeter. Quick update here. So I noticed there's a definite gap right in between here. You can see light going through. This bracket, I might have installed it incorrectly. Okay, so make sure you put this bracket on at the end. Don't put it on first and then put this in. This bracket actually goes in after the fact. So this connects like that. And I think it's just to help press the flanges together and help connect the two to help with vibration, I think is what that's for. Now I'm going to go ahead and put our new lock nuts in place. So there's 4 total. And you're going to definitely need an extension to kind of get between the pipes here. All right, always start these out by hand just to ensure that you didn't cross thread them. And they're spinning nicely, so we're good there. You're going to need a deep socket because as you tighten this, the stud is going to come out. So you have to use a deep socket. And these are a 15 millimeter. So now we can go ahead and tighten these on. So now that's good and tight. All right, and this bolt for this little bracket is a 13. So like one of these ends is shorter than the other. And basing it on that, the short one I believe goes on the closer to the body here. And this is just to connect it to this bracket, which connects it to the transmission to kind of hold it in. This one is a 13. All right, now everything is officially tight. So we got the studs tight. This bracket that connects to the transmission right here is now tight. And we got the bolt back there and the two extra hanger mounts attached. So we now are officially attached on everything. This is done. All right, and with that, the exhaust is now fully installed. I can now lower the car, make sure all my suspension is torqued down to spec, make sure the back wheels are torqued down to spec. I believe the wheels need to be, I think, at 90 foot-pounds. And then I gotta double check the torque for the shocks to make sure everything is good. Now that once I get the full weight of the car on there, just retorque everything, make sure it's good. And then I can officially take the car for a test drive. It's been a long journey on this project. It took me a few months, like more than a few months. So I think I started this project. I think I had to spend at least 3 months on this project, maybe more. But the car has been sitting since like November, December, because I put it up for the winter time, and then I started working on everything this summer. So I haven't driven this car at all this year, and it's already July. So my car's been laid up for a good 8 months. So it's been a long wait before I could finally drive it. I didn't spend 8 months doing repairs because, you know, the whole winter I didn't work on it at all. It just kind of sat, and then I started in the summer. But it's done. I'm gonna finally get this thing down, torque everything, and I'm gonna take it for a test drive, and hopefully it runs smooth. And we'll have plenty more. I'm gonna have plenty more projects to do on it. I have an oil leak I gotta fix. I got a power steering leak I gotta fix. And I have to do brakes. I gotta replace all the brake stuff and do a brake flush and things like that. So I still got plenty more to do. And I'm sure I'll find other things to do after I get that done. I do have a surprise for the interior. I have a video coming for an interior update as well. So be ready for that. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you want to continue to follow along on my journey with my project car, the BMW Z3. And you can also check me out over on Instagram at CoolCatTerri to get a more behind the scenes look of progress I'm making in between video posts on YouTube. So check all that stuff out. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I'll catch you on the next one.